Dear students, good morning. Today in this class, let us remind the speeches. What you have got idea, you can change direct speech into indirect and indirect speech into direct speech. But once again, let us let me remind you the things what you have already known. The changes you have already known. Simple present tense that changes into simple past tense, and simple past tense that changes into past perfect tense, and simple future, the will in the simple future, that will or shall, that changes into would or should, and the present continuous changes into past continuous into past perfect continuous tense, then past future perfect tense that changes into shall or will in the sentence, that changes into would or should, and then again in present perfect tense changes into past perfect tense. Past perfect tense remains as same past perfect tense, and future perfect tense, the shall or will in the shall or will that comes immediately after the subject, that changes into would. I will show you examples also later on. First listen to me. Present perfect continuous changes into past perfect continuous tense. Past perfect continuous tense that remains as same past perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense, and future perfect continuous tense, the shall or will that comes immediately after subject, that changes into would or should. These things in a assertive sentence. When in the case of interrogative sentence, let us see now today in this lesson, let us see when an interrogative sentence changes into other speech, then what changes we need to make, let us observe. Now let us see, questions are these are of two types. First type questions are yes or no. The question for the answer, either we get yes or no. And the questions begin with WH, why, what, where, when, which. In such like questions, definite answer will be there. Do you go to Hyderabad? Then a scope is there. Yes, I go. No, I don't know. No, I don't go. This type of, when the question begins with these anonymous verbs, there yes or no answer can be expected. But when questions begin with when, what, which, why, this like WH questions, yes or no answers we can't expect. Why did you go to Hyderabad? When did you go to Hyderabad? Where do you meet him in Hyderabad? In such questions, no, yes, no, we can't say. Definite answer. When do you go to Hyderabad? I go to Hyderabad on so and so date, so and so time. I generally I go to Hyderabad on every Friday. Or such like something, a complete sentence answer should be there. That's why first when we change interrogative sentences, we should see whether it is yes or no type question. Can we give answer yes or no, or we can't give? We should keep it in our mind. If we can give answer yes or no, then you have already known in directed net speech the very basics. I need not say. Means here it is a combination of two clauses. He said. This is one clause. One sentence. One verb is there here. Simple past tense. And within the quotations, reporting speech, there that might be in all the 12 tenses. If you see, he said, comma, quotations begin. He said this is in simple past tense. Do you go to Hyderabad? Here, scope is there, we can say yes or no. Here, this simple present tense, this should be changed into simple past tense. When there is a scope to give answer yes or no, do you go to Hyderabad? This is in a simple present tense. In this case, simple present tense changes into simple past tense. Here, do you go to Hyderabad means it is interrogative sentence. Question mark will be there at the end of the sentence. He said becomes since this is question, he asked or he questioned. He said it changes into he asked or he questioned. Then that comma will be removed and the quotations in the reporting speech, they will also be removed. He asked, if I went to Hyderabad, simple present tense, that changes into simple past tense. So, do you go to Hyderabad? That is the simple present tense interrogative sentence. That is why that should be changed into simple past tense. Do you go to Hyderabad? Here we can say yes or no. In this case, when the question begins with in anonymous word, then when there is a scope to give answer yes or no, either yes or no, then the conjunction will be in the asserted sentences. In the statements you saw, that is the conjunction to join the two sentences. But whereas in the case of interrogative sentences, if or whether is the conjunction. He said, comma, quotations begin, do you go to Hyderabad? He asked, do you means that you means here that becomes I. The another person asking you, the other person asks you. That's why you in this verb, in this reporting speech, that becomes I. He asked if I went to Hyderabad. In the second question, see, he said, comma, quotations begin, did you go to Hyderabad? Simple past tense. He asked, simple past tense should be changed into, what do you know it very well? Simple past tense changes into past perfect tense. He asked, had I gone to Hyderabad? Did you go Hyderabad? Simple past tense that changes into simple past perfect tense. Did you go to Hyderabad? He asked if I had gone to Hyderabad. And then now let us see in future symbol. In the first sentence, that is a present symbol. The second one, that is past symbol. Now let us see in future symbol. In the case of future symbol, he said, comma quotations begin, will you go to Hyderabad? Here also he asked, this will become would if I would go to Hyderabad. And in the case of present continuous tense, he said, comma quotations begin, are you going to Hyderabad? The same sentence. Let's continue the same sentence for understanding. Are you going to Hyderabad? He asked, present continuous tense that changes into past continuous tense. He asked, if I were going to Hyderabad. Are going to Hyderabad, that changed into are going to Hyderabad. And in future continuous tense, he said, comma quotations begin, will you be going to Hyderabad? Will changes into would. He asked, would I be? He asked, if I would be. That interrogative sentence, one important thing we should keep in our mind. The interrogative sentence in direct speech, that becomes assertive sentence. Always we should remember it. The interrogative sentence in direct speech that changes into assertive type sentence. He said, comma quotations begin, will you be going to Hyderabad? He asked, or he questioned, if I would be going to Hyderabad. Subject comes first, then comes verb. And in the case of present perfect tense, he said, comma quotations begin, have you gone to Hyderabad? This present perfect tense changes into past perfect tense. That's why here the sentence is in present perfect tense. That's why, have you gone to Hyderabad? He said, comma quotations begin, have you gone to Hyderabad? He asked or he questioned, if I had gone to Hyderabad. Have you gone to became had gone. Have gone becomes had gone. Present perfect tense changes into past perfect tense. And in the future simple, he said, comma quotations begin, will you have gone to Hyderabad? This changes into, he asked, if I would have gone to Hyderabad. Same in the case of present perfect continuous tense, that changes into past perfect continuous tense. He said, comma quotations begin, have you been going to Hyderabad? Then it becomes past perfect continuous tense. Have you been going to Hyderabad? He asked if I had been going to Hyderabad. Have you been going? That changes into had you been going. Then, in the past perfect continuous, in the case of past perfect continuous tense, he said, comma questions begin, had you been going to Hyderabad? He questioned, or he asked, if I had been going to Hyderabad. No change is there in the tense. Only the sentence pattern, assertive pattern, changed into, interrogative pattern that changed into assertive pattern. And in the case of future perfect continuous tense, will you have been going to Hyderabad? This always, wherever we see will or shall, that changes into would or should. He asked if I would have been going to Hyderabad. These are the changes while we change direct speech sentence into indirect speech. You may be asked in the examination, you may be asked to change direct speech into indirect speech, and sometimes the sentences, common errors, for common errors, one question will be there. There also, the common error, in the form of common error, one question may come on this direct and indirect speeches. That's why you should be well versed with these rules. That is why once again I am reminding you the thing what you have learned. And now, if I showed you the sentences from the sentences which we expect answer yes or no. But other questions we can't expect yes or no answer. The sentences, they begin with WH questions. Why, when, what, which, whose, who. In such cases, the question begins with WH words. Then the conjunction will become the same word, the first word of the question that becomes the conjunction. Whereas in the case of the questions where we expect a yes or no answer, there the conjunction is if or whether. He asked me, do you go to Hyderabad? He asked me if I go to Hyderabad. Or if he asked me whether I go to Hyderabad. If and whether, both conjunctions, they convey the same sense. Both conjunctions are okay, if and whether. Now, in the case of when do you go to Hyderabad? The question begins, he asked, comma quotations begin, when do you go to Hyderabad? Then in this case, the conjunction will be the first word of the question. He asked me when I would go to. He asked me when that becomes a conjunction. He asked me if I had he asked me when I went to Hyderabad. Simple present tense that changes into past simple. The rule is same. And why do you go to Hyderabad? He said, comma quotations begin, why do you go to Hyderabad? He asked me why I went to Hyderabad. He said, again in the simple present tense, one more example I am giving you. He said, comma quotations begin, when do you go to Hyderabad? He questioned me, or he asked me when I went to Hyderabad. The same in the second sentence, simple past tense. When did you go to Hyderabad? He said, comma quotations begin, when did you go to Hyderabad? We put Hyderabad వెళ్ళావు. He asked me, or he questioned me. He questioned me when I had gone to Hyderabad. Suppose if why is the first word in the question. He said, comma quotations begin, why did you go to Hyderabad? He questioned, or he asked. He asked why I had gone to Hyderabad. That's why the first question, the very first word will be the conjunction of that sentence. And in the future also, he said, comma quotations begin, when will you go to Hyderabad? He asked when I would go to Hyderabad. He said, comma quotations begin, why did you go to Hyderabad? He asked me why I had gone to Hyderabad. In the same way, in the case of yes or no statement, statements, if or whether is the conjunction, and when the question begins with when, which, what, why, in this WH questions, there the first word will be the conjunction. This thing we need to remember. And in the case of another case, I will show you examples also. And in the case of imperative sentence also. Imperative sentence means something imperative. It expresses something, a wonder, something, a sad feeling in such like sentences. He said, comma quotations begin, what a beautiful place it is. What a wonderful place it is. He said, comma quotations begin, what a beautiful place it is. And then here he said that this is like this here conjunction comes that as in assertive sentences. The imperative sentence will be changed into assertive one. He said, comma quotations begin, what a beautiful place it is. He exclaimed, here since it is an exclamatory sentence, he exclaimed that it was, what a beautiful place it is there, is simple present tense verb, is present tense verb is there. That's why this present tense verb should be changed into always the verb which is in the direct speech, that if it is in present simple tense, then that will be changed into past tense. We should remember. He said, comma quotations begin, what a beautiful place it is. He exclaimed that it was very beautiful place. It also, the The structure of interrogative, the structure of imperative sentence will also be changed into assertive type. He said, "What a tall building it is!" He exclaimed. He exclaimed that the building was very tall, is in the David speech. That's why that is becomes was simple. All simple sentences, all the present tense verbs, they get changed into past simple tense and the relative past tense. That's why you remember in the case of interrogative and imperative sentence, if yes or no answer, if you expect yes or no answer, then it is if or whether the conjunction, and when the question has definite answer. Why, when the question begins with why, when, what, which, where. In such cases, the same word will be the conjunction of that indirect speech sentence. And another change is interrogative sentence changes into assertive type sentence. Assertive type means subject comes first and then verb follows it. Whereas in the case of interrogative sentence, verb comes first and subject follows it. That's why keeping these things in your view, you have to change, and if any common errors in the sentence, you need to correct them. In that case also this type of questions may come. That's why you should have a very good idea regarding the change of direct speech into indirect speech. So far as assertive types of statements, I don't wish to remind you again, because right from the 6th to 7th class onwards, you are changing so many sentences. That's why you will have very good idea regarding changing direct speech into indirect speech. That's why you keep these points in your view and change them into indirect speech accordingly.